Now, while New Zealand is racing to contain these 2 cases, in the country where this all started, they're looking at an outbreak that could be a lot worse.
China is racing to contain a new outbreak of COVID-19. After reporting no new infections in Beijing for more than 50 days, the virus has returned.
Parts of Beijing under lockdown again. Officials there calling it wartime mode. Schools closed, transport in and out of the city shut down. There are now more than 100 coronavirus cases linked to Beijing's Xinfadi wholesale market. Health officials scrambling to quickly contact trace, testing an estimated 200,000 people, from market workers to recent visitors. Near the area, images seen of hundreds of military police deployed to freeze the flow of people.
Okay, wait a minute. China is shutting down Beijing because of 100 cases? Either China takes this way more seriously than everyone else, or there's something they're not telling us again. Now look, China, I know it's embarrassing to have more corona, especially when everyone in the world is blaming you for this thing. But you need to be honest with us about what's happening, because you saw what secrets did the last time. One minute, it was a few cases in Wuhan. The next thing you know, we were all making face masks out of our roommates' underwear. Now, there is some good news in the battle against COVID-19. Researchers at Oxford say that a common steroid that's been around for 60 years can dramatically reduce the risk of death in severely ill coronavirus patients. Basically, scientists have now just started doing the same thing that you do at home. You know, when you get sick, you just go through your medicine cabinet trying random stuff to see if it'll work. Oh, does Pepto-Bismol cure herpes? Well, it's worth a shot. And in another big research development, experts are now confident that the virus mostly isn't spread by touching surfaces or brief outdoor contact. Instead, they're saying that there's now a consensus that most spreading comes from close-up, person-to-person interactions for extended periods and crowded events where people are talking loudly. So basically, this is good news for us. We're understanding corona, you know? Like now we know the total nightmare scenario for catching coronavirus would be like I don't know, like a big crowded indoor event, you know, where thousands of people are packed together screaming and chanting about locking someone up. But luckily, no one would do such a thing. Speaking of no one, President Trump and his administration have come under fire for not encouraging Americans to take this pandemic seriously, which is unfortunate because the pandemic is still taking America very seriously.
This morning, record-breaking one-day increases. Arizona, Florida, and Texas all reporting their largest one-day increases in new COVID cases. They are among 20 states that have seen the number of newly reported cases grow over the last 2 weeks.
Both President Trump and Vice President Pence, however, are yet again downplaying the seriousness of the outbreak, blaming testing for the climbing numbers.
I can tell you on COVID or coronavirus or whatever you want to call it, plenty of names, tremendous progress is being made. A lot of cases that other countries who don't even test don't have. If you don't test, you don't have any cases. If we stop testing right now, we'd have very few cases, if any.
Okay. Technically, Trump is right. If you don't test anybody, then you don't have any cases. The same way if black people stopped recording the cops, we would have 0 cases of police brutality. Ignorance is bliss. You know what the problem is here? The problem is that Trump thinks of coronavirus as a PR issue and not as a pandemic. He's less concerned with fixing coronavirus and more concerned with fixing how coronavirus makes him look, which probably explains those pictures he brought to yesterday's press conference. I mean, yeah, it looks better, but it doesn't help. Now look, if all of this seems a little like deja vu to you, you're not losing your mind. China is saying that the virus is completely under control, but at the same time, they're shutting down one of their largest cities. And the US is seeing a surge in many states, yet Trump is claiming that everything is fine. So the bad news is, the world might be going down a path that we've already been down. It's happening all over again. The good news is, that means that I know the winning lottery numbers. I'm gonna go play that shit now. Because as we've all learned yet again over the past few weeks, the worst racism isn't in your breakfast. It's often what happens when you leave the house. And for people who are worried about getting harassed by the police, there's an app that might not be able to stop it, but can at least make sure that everyone finds out.
Amid the widespread protests and anger over police brutality, an iPhone shortcut that allows users to automatically record their interactions with the police is gaining popularity. After installing the shortcut, all you have to do is say, "Hey Siri, I'm getting pulled over." Then opens your front-facing camera and starts a video recording and sends a message to somebody you designate as a contact. Once you stop the recording, it sends the message to that contact and allows you to send it to your iCloud or Dropbox.
Hell yeah, Siri. I always knew you were an ally.
Did you say find local bowling alleys?
God damn it, I hate you. Now, obviously, this is a helpful tool for many, many people. But the fact that this app is even necessary just shows you how widespread the problem is. I mean, it's 30 years after Rodney King, and the only thing that's basically changed is that the cameras are smarter. In fact, the cops have now released their own app. Yeah. When they start to pull over a black person, their body cam automatically malfunctions. In other news, while most of the planet has been focused on fighting racism and coronavirus, deep in the Himalayas, China and India have decided they also want to fight each other.
Two nuclear powers are facing off in a remote corner of the Himalayas, and now officials from China and India are scrambling to try to ease tensions. On Monday, soldiers from both countries fought on disputed land, and the Indian side lost around 20 soldiers, and that's prompted anger in several cities. You see people here stomping on Chinese-made products. Others burned an effigy of China's president.
Okay, I'm sorry. China and India, you guys need to cool off because this is not the time. We can't handle a world war right now. We're already dealing with so many things. Coronavirus, economies are tanking, global protests are happening, and at any minute, more Hollywood actors could release one of those black and white videos. I take responsibility. Now, this dispute between China and India is about where exactly a remote border in the Himalayas should be. And they've been arguing about this part of the border for 50 years. And it's crazy that this is basically what most beefs between countries come down to. Every country is basically just a kid in the back of a car trying to claim as much of the middle seat as they can. It's mine, it's mine, it's mine. And I don't know if I'd be fighting for that land anyway. I mean, it's in the Himalayas. Whoever wins is still going to be stuck dealing with asshole mountain climbers for 1,000 years. So yeah, China, you might push India out, but you're never getting rid of Brock. You may remember, the reason that I'm shooting the show in my apartment is not because I forgot to pay the utility bill at the studio, but because coronavirus shut down the planet. And although the coronavirus devastated the globe, some countries managed to beat it, which gave the rest of us hope. Right? Countries like New Zealand, the Canada of Australia, they'd been celebrating because they had completely gotten rid of coronavirus. But then this week, they discovered that even they can't go back to normal just yet.
After more than 3 weeks of no new cases of COVID-19 in New Zealand, with authorities believing the country had managed to eliminate the virus, the Ministry of Health today announced 2 new cases. They are both women who had travelled from the UK via Australia. It's a major blow for the country that has aggressively tackled the virus. Only last week, New Zealand lifted almost all domestic coronavirus restrictions.
Oh no. New Zealand, you made the classic zombie movie mistake. When you're in the house and everything is fine and someone knocks on the door, you do not let that person in. Because when you open that door, it's gonna be a zombie or a Jehovah's Witness. Either way, don't open the door. That said, it is crazy that 2 cases is described as a major blow to the country. I mean, that's how differently New Zealand is taking this to other places. Because, I mean, if that's a major blow, America is taking in corona like the guy in an old wind tunnel experiment. And I mean, this just goes to show how hard it's going to be to defeat coronavirus without a vaccine, right? Because all it takes is one little slip up for all your work to collapse. It's kind of like the game Jenga, in the sense that it's not fun at all, and I wish it was over. Are you looking to spend 10 minutes nervous, but also bored? Try Jenga.